Hello and welcome to the show. We are back on Forza Horizon 4 building another car to take on the Fortune Island hill climb. The most requested car from last time out was the 205 T16. One of, well, the most successful, technically, of the Group B rally cars. Will probably be an interesting one here. I'll be honest, I want to say it's going to be good because I love the 205. It's one of my all-time favourite cars. However, on the Sandy Beach Rally, it didn't actually do all that well. Admittedly, we are building a car to a very different class and for a very different purpose for the Needle Pass. I'd love it to do well, and theoretically it could. It has a very short wheelbase. It's hopefully going to be quite nice and light. It will be all-wheel drive. The rules for this series: cars must be run with their standard driveline and must be run with their standard engine if they can. And I would expect that this will be run with its standard engine. We are going to want race tyres. We know that much. We are going to want as wide tyres as we possibly can get on this, which is going to be 255s or not too bad for what we're doing in A-Class. It's slightly less critical. We still want as much grip as possible, of course, but we can get away perhaps a little bit more with the smaller tyres. Now, one of the other main reasons why people want to see the 205 run up here is for the Mad Hill Climb kit. That is pretty much the rule with this car. While technically the Forza Aero might be a little better, the rules are that this has to be run, if at all, usable. So, there we go. I mean, technically, it's probably not a bad idea. You know, in some ways it's not a bad idea. Okay, it's got more drag. It has got more drag, this kit, than a normal one, but gives you the same, if not better, same handling, better braking, technically, and loses a bunch of PI. So it's actually definitely worth going for, I would say. Probably not going to bother going for that. Probably not going to bother going with those. It's PI where we don't really need it. And I might stick on some rally lights just because I can, pretty much. And there we go. So it's a mad-looking car. I think, am I right in saying this is the right paint for the hill climb version, the camel? I can't remember now. It's been a long time since I've looked up 205 stuff. But, yeah, race brakes are going to be needed. We are also going to want some race suspension. Doesn't make the car as low as you would have seen from some other vehicles, but we are going to want it. Likewise, we're going to want all of the anti-roll bars. The roll cage does add weight a little bit, but it adds chassis rigidity, which we are going to want on this mountain pass. And, well, whatever weight reduction we can get. And now we are still, I mean, we were the top of B class with the race tyres put on, and now we've got a bunch of weight reduction and race parts, and we're not the top of B class. That's what the wings, the mighty wings, will do to this car. Are we going to want a gearbox? That's the question. Does it add up much PI? That one does. That one not so much. I might just go stick that in. We'll go for the diff, and then it is on to the power options. I want a lot of power, really. We're not going to get a lot of power in this car, which is a slight bit of a shame. I say slight bit of a shame. We're going to get past 300 horsepower, which is pretty good going on this. Do we go full turbo for that? I'm just thinking it adds a little bit of weight, not much though. Maybe we do just go big old turbo on this, and then we try and slot in some other parts along the way. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be over 300 horsepower, over 300 torque. Doesn't weigh too much. That's, I think, a pretty good sign. Unlike the Mini, that while had similar levels of power, a little bit less, but similar levels of power, this is going to have all-wheel drive. We won't have that horrible front-wheel drive understeer whenever you try and get on the power anywhere. So, I think it could be quite fast. Although, to be fair, I thought that about the beach rally one that we'd built, and that did struggle. So we could be wrong. Or it could be something that gives the RX-8 a challenge. I'm kind of hoping it's the latter. Well, the utterly bonkers-looking 205 is ready on the grid for our hill climb. I'm going to have 3 runs up this course to try and go as fast as possible. The target time to beat a 1:28.1 set by that RX-8. I am certainly curious to see how this car will be able to fare up this course. Race tyres are good. Oh, it's actually quite oversteery. It's quite an oversteery all-wheel drive vehicle. I expected just to turn into that corner and there to be grip. But no, the back end does move around more than expected. I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world. It's not uncontrollable. We're not going to be losing time sliding around, although we do not have as much grip there as I thought we might do. We got very close to missing that checkpoint. Okay, so in this current configuration, there is not as much grip in the 205 as I was expecting, either front-end grip or perhaps rear-end grip. I might maybe be expecting a little bit too much of the car. I was, not expecting to see the back end moving around as much from this. I will probably have to be a little bit more careful. Hell, I think the RX-8 was more stuck to the road than this, and that was rear-wheel drive. Don't think that had much bigger tyres either. Maybe a little bit, but it wasn't crazy. This has got a mighty wing! Look at the mighty wing on it. Maybe they've put the wing the wrong way round. Possibly. That would explain... Oh, God, why we're doing that. Okay, when pushed hard, this thing is sketchy as anything going up here. When pushed hard, this does have a liking of moving around at the rear, which I was not prepared for and was certainly not wanting to see. Okay, well, it's a first run. It's a first run, that's okay. We've got more runs to go. It's not been a very good run. What is the time going to be in the end? It is going to be a 131, I think. Okay, we definitely lost a little bit sliding the car around. A couple of places we had some big offs, so there is more time to be found. There is more time to be found, but not as nice a car to drive as I might have liked. So, we are on to our second attempt with oversteer McWinface here, and I'm going to have to try and stop sliding the bloody Peugeot around if we're going to get any more speed out of the car. I mean, it was kind of prompt considering the issues we had and the amount of time wasted, I would imagine, with sliding around. It's kind of promising for the 205. It's just not so good drive. I never have been so good at extracting speed out of oversteery cars. In fact, that was more neutral steer there, smoke pouring off the front tyres of the car, and that's all put me out of shape going through that next section, which is not really, it's not a greatest of starts. We're not as wide though that time around through there. Again, back end just snaps on you. I will say, I have never ever been able to build a good 205 T16 in a Forza game ever. As much as I would love to be able to use them in class racing and so on, I have seen some competent ones run, but I've personally never been able to get one of these cars working, which is a shame because I love the 205. I don't know why, I just can never get one of these cars to be any particular good for me, that's for sure. And this one is having some issues, very, very different issues to the ones that I was expecting it to have, but there we go. And this time we're not in the fence, which is always a bonus. We'll get a little bit of oversteer mid-corner. We've had a much better second part to this run. The first few corners were a little scruffy. This second part has been, I think, better, I hope, certainly. Gear ratios aren't too bad. They may be a tad awkward, but yeah, they're not too bad. Stop sliding around, Peugeot. I'll try and fight and counter-steer the car. Okay, that's more like it. That's more like it. We're down to a 128, was it? 128.7. We're not actually that far away from the RX-8. If I can get everything right, somehow this weird oversteering machine might just stand a chance. Well, amazingly, this crazy car is within reach of going fastest up this hill climb. We need about 0.6 of a second if we are to beat the RX-8, and I didn't think I'd be saying this at the start, but yeah, we might just be able to do it with the 205. It isn't going to be easy though. We're going to have to try and make sure that the car doesn't slip and slide its way around on this course, and it is the early part. I mean, maybe a little bit of cold tyres. I don't know how much difference they make on Horizon 4, but potentially slightly colder tyres at the start might give it a little bit more of an oversteery feel. Just got a little bit of understeer that time around through there, but it's neater, it's tidier on this early approach. So yeah, it is quick. I will give it that. It is working pretty well up this course. Certainly a damn sight better than the Mini. I can use all 300 horsepower most of the time. Occasionally we still, I mean, even there, I was just about on the limit. A little bit of a wiggle, a touch wide on the exit once more. That's okay. We'll get away with another little slide. There's a lot more moving around. I think there's more moving around with this than there was in the BMW M4. Now, brake the car for this section. Don't let the back end get the better of you. on the exit. We avoid the barriers as well. We avoid the gravel on the outside of the corner also, which is good. Just a couple more corners to go for the 205. So try and move the car across for some of these hairpins is not the easiest thing in the world to position it, because you kind of carry a lot of speed through one corner, you'll end up out of position for the next turn and so on. It's an interesting course trying to thread the car through. What are we going to do? It's fast. It is good for the 205. That felt like a good run. I was pleased with that one. We got everything under control early on, and we were able to run up through that sections, through the tight twisty bits with only a tiny bit of sliding, which is exactly what we want. And it is a 127.6. It is the first car into the 127s. I was certainly not expecting to say that at the start of running. I did not think we were going to, after that first run, I really didn't think we were going to see the 205 be very good at all up here. It is difficult to drive quickly. It is difficult to drive quickly up there, but if you get it right, pretty damn good. As the 205 will go to the top of our table. It will beat the Mazda RX-8 by, well, it's less than half a second, but it is still beaten that RX-8. It beats the Mini Cooper, beats the BMW M4. Certainly not as easy to drive up there as the RX-8. Certainly not as easy to drive up there as the RX-8. Surprisingly oversteery, surprisingly uncooperative in places, and it can snap, and it will catch you out when it snaps as well. So, a nasty car to get up the hill climb course, but a very, very fast one. I think for the first time ever, how long it's going to stay I don't know, but for the first time ever, we have a 205 T16 leading a series. And that I am very happy about. It will, though, be it for this video. As ever, if you have cars you would like to see run up this course, please do leave suggestions in the comment section of this video. The most liked comment, that car will be run next time out, provided it can fit within the class. We're using A-class for this, and provided I have it / can afford it. That'll be it for today, though, so thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.